Today I will talk to you a little bit about Eileen Fisher, the company and the person, what we're doing in terms of human rights, and why we do it. Eileen Fisher is a clothing company, medium-sized company, about $300 million in sales last year, and about 1,000 employees. Our company is privately owned by Eileen and the employees themselves, so we do not have stakeholders, external stakeholders. We're a very value-driven company. We always say that it's not just about the clothes, it's about being conscious of our impact on the people and the planet. Eileen always says that focus on the people and the rest will fall into place. And that has held true for us. Even during the economic downturn, our business has done really well. Our company employees are 80% women, and we are a very unconventional business leadership model. And as a women company, I think we do it pretty well. How we treat our people and our business partners. So we have a team within Eileen Fisher called Social Consciousness, and I'm a member on the Social Consciousness team. So our team is comprised of a human rights person, that's me, an environmental sustainability person, a community partnerships and women's initiative person, and someone from the Eileen Fisher Foundation. So by that, you can get a sense of we're very women-focused, even in our corporate giving and community giving. So what do we do to advance human rights in the world? Just to give you a little background, we started our human rights program in 1997, and our supply chain looks like this. We make about 80% of our products in China. We make about 10 to 15% in the US, right here in New York City and in California. We make the rest of them, which is very little, in India, Peru, Portugal, Japan, Italy, and the Philippines. So different countries come with different issues, and that also means different opportunities to influence positive change. To do that, we are keeping up to date on what is the current issue and the emerging issues related to our supply chain. And we work on educating internally. My closest team in the company is the manufacturing team. So working with them on influencing ethical sourcing is part of my job. External, and also the design team. Interestingly, I always say that my job has nothing to do with the product, but increasingly, it's slowly getting into the product as well, because when we think about raw materials and where we're sourcing raw materials, it's very much related to the design. And externally, we work with nonprofits, we work with other brands, and working on multi-stakeholder groups to help influence change in the global supply chain. So, an industry standard, for this human rights work is doing monitoring work. Monitoring in terms of conducting labor audits in our factories. We send third-party auditors into our factories to verify that the labor standards are met. However, our philosophy has always been that auditing, if you're just doing auditing, you're not doing enough, because an audit only tells you the condition in that factory during those 2 days period out of that whole year, and what's happening in between audits. So I would like to touch a little bit about what we're doing that I thought is a little cool, and how it relates to the theme of CSW this year on rural women. The first project that I want to share with you is our training initiative in China. In China, about more than 90% of our workforce are migrant workers from other rural areas in China. So through our training program that started since 2002, we have been able to educate our workers about what their rights are. And we don't just give them the topics, we give them a list of topics. They get to pick 5 of them and then they feel is most important to them and they're most interested in. And we hold those training programs throughout the year in our factories. And yes, we cannot reach 100% of our workforce every year because production has to go on, but we were able to reach up to a third of them every year. So I think over the last 10 years, we have reached a lot of our workers, and by doing this, we're able to give them the knowledge and the tools to advocate for themselves in between audits and advocate for their own communities. We believe in creating individual change agents in our factories. Eileen always say that by doing that, we're creating positive change one factory at a time. So the second pretty cool thing that I want to share is, we have some home workers in the rural village in India, in West Bengal. And why do we work with home workers? A lot of brands actually shy away from working with home workers because when someone's working in the home, there are children involved, there's some risk involved, and there's some productivity issue because in rural areas you're very much affected by nature, and it's a challenge when you want goods to arrive on time. But our designers love the products from home workers, and they love the fact that by working with home workers, we are not just getting a beautiful product, we are also preserving communities. People are able to work in rural villages without having to migrate to urban areas. And we are also preserving an art form. We hand loom our scarves in India, and that's a dying art. And by doing that, we are preserving the culture, and we don't really mind that children are in the village and observing that because that's how they learn the art form, and that's how a culture is preserved. So we are actually working with a nonprofit in India to help study the community. Our hopes is to find out from the workers themselves, what do they want to see change? What's important to them? What's most important to them? And then we'll do some sort of community investment to help realize their hopes. We are just this week starting a mobile phone survey project with 2 of our factories in India. It's really exciting because we always like to hear directly from our workers, and with mobile phone technology, we're able to hear directly from them. We can survey them on a lot of things, and once they call in, they get a little incentive for being a participant. Basically, we give them a phone card recharge, so they could use it to make calls to whoever they want. And once they call in, we also have their phone numbers, and we also know who's a male, who's a female. We're able to send them messages, voice messages, not text, because some of them cannot read. And by that, we can educate them without going through our suppliers, who might, sometimes be hesitant about what we want to do. But the key is always to get buy-in from the suppliers and make them think that they're getting something good out of it too, which is worker retention and other kinds of stuff. We are not big on power, but we believe that with the little power we have, we are able to really bring about the good stuff in the global community. We believe in the business's role in promoting peace in the world. And I want to say that we're not the only brand that does this kind of work. And there are others that are much bigger and have much more resources than us to do this kind of work. But I can say that the difference between us and most other brands is our primary focus on women and girls, and our very people-focused approach and relationship-based approach. So Annette talked about transparency. For a long time, we had a hard time talking about what we're doing because Eileen didn't feel that it's right to talk about this, to use this to sell clothes. She thinks that, how authentic are you in doing this work if you're using it as a marketing tool. So it's a modesty issue. I think when it comes to women's company, sometimes we are shy about sharing what we're doing well, but increasingly we're learning that if we don't tell the story, we can't inspire others to do the same. So we're doing that a little more nowadays, and yeah, I feel very lucky to be here today because I'm a part of the YWCA delegation. I wish that more businesses are a part of CSW because I understand that this is a safe space for women's NGO to talk about issues, but businesses are the ones with the resources to help realize some of these dreams and hopes. And I think that businesses should be engaged more actively. We are all trying to solve complex issues in the world, and I think together we can connect, inspire, and make change. So that's all I have to share.